But what I was going to tell you is, since we're standing right here, if we look at this 060T, which was built in 1942, and then you look at the 45-ton center cab diesel with the side rods, that was built in 41. So you have basically the same time frame toward the end of steam, the beginning of diesel, both industrial type switchers. This is a tank engine, the water tanks are in the shop. But I tell folks that if you take this, when the water tanks are back on it, paint it blue, put a number 1 on it in the face, put European style bumpers on it, there's Thomas the Tank right there in real.
Yeah. Kansas City Southern has a Thomas the Tank like locomotive that it hooks up to a bunch of passenger cars, and although they don't take people on rides, they still call it the Polar Express at Kansas City Union Station, and we're from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
So
well, we have Polar Express starting November 11th this year.
yeah, that's what Jerry told me.
But anyway, come this way and I'll show you the model railroad car, and then we can go out and see the 1879 Santa Fe 280.
Okay.
This is a Frisco caboose, which I believe was built around 1920, 1915 time frame.
Okay.
3 of them. There's this one, there's one at the entrance to the museum,
Okay.
and then there is one down on.
Oh, you guys have a Pullman car here too. I didn't even notice that earlier.
We have a Pullman. It was a sectional sleeper for the Frisco Railroad. It was the cruise sleeper. It was built in 1915, and now it houses artifacts. If Richard's here, we'll be able to go in. Come on in here. And this car here is a Rock Island heavyweight baggage car.
Oh, wow.
Built in 1927. And it now houses our model railroad and model railroad exhibit.
This is incredible. This is great.
So, I will put a show on for you.
Okay.
So this layout here, that I'm going to operate here, it's a HO scale. It's a digital command control, DCC. And you said Norfolk and Western. Well, I just happen to have a Norfolk and Western Y6B right here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And a Delaware and Hudson PA unit.
Oh, wow.
And for those who like Lionel,
I do like Lionel.
look up.
Nice.
Penske Turbine, the S1 model. I'll be cleaning track when we had last summer run this past weekend. So we had a lot of trains. We had a lot of trains going. So it's track cleaning time. But I think we'll get enough juice out of it for you folks to try. You'll want to get a photo of that when it comes by up here. pretty fun. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the license feed here. And then I can show you around. No, I'll Bruce this guy here on the front. Well, let me get him in place. I like them all right here. Well, I also like them where I can touch them, because if they for some reason don't start, I can just reach over and give it a little bit of a goose. Good morning.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Are you with this group, or are you just here?
Nope, just here by myself.
Well, that's good. I like to go places by myself. Then I'm on my own schedule. I can look at what I want as long as I want.
Exactly. That's my idea.
Unfortunately, when I'm with her, sometimes I forget that. I just start wandering off, and next thing you know, she's like, "Where'd he go?"
Anyway, if you notice back on the table there was a Northern Pacific train set. That is a model that was built in 1958, and I believe it is American Flyer. We'll go back and look. But I got that. We received that in a donation. So I did some research on it and found out that the entire set is there. It came with 4 cars and 3 diesels, so ABA set. But yeah, it's American. I want to make sure I'm telling you wrong. No, I'm sorry. It's Gilbert. It's a Gilbert set.
The full thing.
I enjoy finding a lot of this stuff. See, these items here were in a box, and I just placed them up here. But these,
Oh wow!
these would have been from the 30s.
Right.
You know, it wouldn't be the 20s because they didn't have the streamliners.
Wow. So that's pre-war right there.
Right. They wouldn't have the Commodore Vanderbilt style, the Dreyfus.
Right.
That started in the Art Deco period, so they would be from the 30s is my
Wow.
educated guess on those. But the shell itself is actually a piece of art, so I thought they would look kind of
Yeah.
nice displayed here. And this engine here, we're going to go outside and see, but this is a 280 that was a Santa Fe engine. It was built in 1879 as a 440.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then redone in 1897 to the 280 wheel configuration consolidation. And then the Santa Fe retired it in, I believe, 50, 51, and they gave it to the Oklahoma Fairgrounds, who had it for, I don't know how long, but they in turn gave it to the museum, and we got it here probably around 15 years ago maybe. And it doesn't run under its own power, but it rolls quite nicely, and it's been used in quite a few movies.
Right.
Because they can put that on the head end of the train, and then
Really?
push the train with a diesel, which is out of camera.
You know what movies it's been used in?
I can find that out from Ann,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I've seen them. And then there's another car I'll show you, which I call the gangster car.
Okay.
It's a Chicago Northwestern Combine
Okay.
that was used in interurban service,
Uh huh.
and it was finished in 1929, the day that the Depression started.
Oh wow.
So Al Capone, the gangsters, Chicago 29, I figured that's a fun terminology for it, but we'll go see that here in a moment.
Okay.
And we'll go. You can
Absolutely.
hang on. If you want to come along with us, you can.
Oh, we'll probably hold on. Thank you.
Okay, we'll just have at it, and I'll come back and run the transfer a little bit if you want, in a little bit, okay?
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Let me show the folks. Here you go. The arch.
Oh yeah.
Now, see, that's the beauty of the hobby. It doesn't have to necessarily be
You can make it whatever you want it to be. Yeah.
and represent what you want.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people when they have one of these fantasy paint scheme engines or something, or they label it the way they want it, and somebody says, well, that never existed. I say, well, sure it did. You're looking at it.
Yeah.
It just happens to be a model, but it exists.
My railroad layout at my O-scale layout I've got at home, Lionel. It's the one that celebrates the merger between Union Pacific and the Missouri, Kansas, Texas.
The MKT?
Yeah, and when I run it, I call it the. My last name is Losh. I call it the Losh Hollow Railroad.
Okay.
So.
Well, now speaking of Missouri, Kansas, and Texas, our main line out here, which is 2.7 miles of track, is Katy Track, former Katy Track from Texas to Kansas.
Okay.
So we have track from 16th Street to 50th Street, and we run excursion trains every first and third Saturday from April to August, which is the summer train schedule.
Right.
And then we get ready for the Halloween train and then the big Polar Express.
Right.
And we also get involved with the softball women's World Series, and we have an Easter train, we have a Halloween train, we have a 4th of July train, we have the Polar Express. So, a lot of good stuff here.
Wow.
All right, well, this is O gauge here. All this stuff. And then we've got N scale here. And then we've got VHF. So let's go over here. I don't know if Chris is here yet, or I guess not. He usually comes about 11. So here we go. There's the gangster car.
And why do you call it that?
Because it was used by Al Capone and his goons when the Depression started.
Wow.
This is an FP45. There were 14 of them. It was built in 1967. Santa Fe had 9 of them, and Milwaukee, or Chicago Rock, they had 5 of them.
Okay.
So it's a nice beast. The Rock Island caboose here, if you'd like to go in, it's an outside race caboose for the very reason that it started as a box car.
Okay.
And then Rock Island rebuilt several boxcars into cabooses in the 40s, early 40s.
Okay.
So if you'd like to go in, you can.
Sure, yeah.
Now, what was the line named after? Is that an actual location?
Yeah, it's Rock Island is a town. That's it.
You know?
No. It's Chicago Rock Island. It's a CRI&P symbol.
Yeah.
But Chicago Rock Island.
So was that in
Rock Island is just like the nickname, like the Missouri Kansas. They call it. Rock Island. No, Rock Island is a town.
You need to take a picture of your camera,
Okay. Go ahead.
especially blocking your face.
Sorry.
And it was an interurban truck. And I just and it was used in movies. Wow. And it used to be big. So it's kind of
So that's the gangster car right there, the Chicago Northwestern 7721.
Cool.
And that's the car that was on the inaugural run of the El Capitan, the Kerr McGee Explorer.
We're going to need to go around the other side to see the steam engine.
Okay.
The new engine, a VO1000. United States Army.
The United States Army
That's
right there.
An example of one of the first diesels. So that one I believe was built in 42.
Wow, okay.
The VO1000 started around 38, 39. So that engine and the FT, which
So that's World War II era.
to an F, were the beginning of the diesel era.
So this is about early 40s?
Late 30s, early 40s, yes.
Okay, nice.
So let's go over here. This little 25-ton switcher came from a wood tie plant. It was a Katie engine. Missouri, Kansas, Texas. Since we're right here, I guess we'll just go in. Is your wife wanting to come?
Yeah. Or well, I mean, she's
Do you want to
doing
go inside? We'll go inside here and then we can look out to see the steam engine and we'll go around. It should, yeah, there it is. Yeah, this was gonna work out good. Well, see the steam engine?
Uh-huh. Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool? So anyway, here, let's go and see if we can find something of interest. All right, go on in.
All right.
You'll see the handholds here
Yeah.
for people to use for interurban service, which is
Oh, wow.
get on and get off like the bus.
Yeah.
The light fixtures are the original, the seats, the flooring, everything is as it was.
Wow.
So this is a heavyweight Chicago Northwestern combine. Combine, they call it that because it's a combination of passengers and cargo.
Gotcha.
So up in the front there, if you see, let's walk up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where you would be able to put anything you want, including people. But it would be for carrying freight. Thus you have freight doors on the side there
Oh, okay, yeah.
to be able to load it from the side. And then you have a section for people to ride. This here was actually used to have a stretcher
Oh.
for medical reasons.
Okay.
And then when I was explaining about this car being in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
this wall here
Uh-huh.
on this side is where the gangster was shot, whomever it was in the movie.
Yeah.
Dan will know the name of the movie. And there's in the photos and the reel of the picture, you'll see the actual results of the shooting, i.e. fake blood.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I asked the girls, I said, I want to put some fake political stickers in the city. Like somebody, and they wouldn't go for that, but. Okay, here's the steam engine here. I guess unless you want to walk around, we can see it pretty good from right here. But this is the engine that was built in 1879 as a 440. And it's an oil burner, meaning that it burns oil instead of coal for its fuel. So
Oh, okay. How common was that?
very common.
Yeah.
Oil or coal. The early steam engines way back were wood burners.
Yeah.
But then you would use coal or oil, and a lot of that depended on the fuel source that was indigenous to the area that the railroads ran. But also, oil burned easier and cleaner than coal because you didn't have the cinders and the ashes to worry about. You didn't have the hassle of possibly starting brush fires with hot embers getting on the side of the track
Of course.
and what have you. But an oil fire could get very hot, and if it wasn't controlled, it could actually overheat and loosen the bolts in the fireplace.
Yeah, a lot of the early, really early cars that were burning, coal and stuff like that. People would be, and they were open cars,
Right, you get
and
the
people would be riding on it, and people would have ashes and coals are
right.
blowing back in their faces.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's also why they put smoke deflectors,
Yeah.
What does the AT stand for?
Atchison to Peak.
Pecan Santa Fe.
Oh, right.
And then SF is that Now, the steam engine itself, do you know actually how it works?
Who, me?
Anybody?
Yeah. Yeah, so you put your fuel in there, and it goes through certain lines that then creates steam that turns the drive wheels.
Yeah. Basically, what you're doing is you're boiling water on the stove like you're making a pot of tea.
Mm-hmm.
So you take your pot, you go to the sink, you fill it with water, set it on the stove, turn the heat on, and then it'll start to boil, and then it'll whistle, and you put your face over, and it gets wet, right? Okay? That's what you're doing with this,
Yeah.
except the fuel, which is your stove, the fuel source.
Yeah.
The firebox down here is actually your stove itself. You could call it a stove, an oven,
Yeah.
fireplace, whatever. But that is the heating. That is your oven.
Right.
Then what you're doing is you're feeding it with coal or oil, or in the old days wood, and lighting it up.
Right.
So you have that burning down there, and that's your heat source going.
Mhm.
Now you got to fill your water, your teapot with water, so to speak.
Yep.
So the water, which is also in the tender, which you fill from the top, just like the oil or the coal,
Yeah.
is transferred through those pipes. See that pipe up there, and then it comes down at an angle, and then it goes forward, and
Yes.
it goes in there. That's your water supply. There's one on
Oh.
each side. See down there? See that corrugated big hose down there?
Yes.
That's the oil supply, and there's
Oh.
one on the other side. So the oil's coming out of the tender, through that, up that pipe, into the firebox, which is supplying the fire source, the heat source,
Yeah.
your fuel. The water is coming through those pipes down into the boiler, which is the boiler.
Yeah.
Okay, now you got to have a heating element. So inside the boiler is a series of pipes called flues, and they're placed in a symmetrical arrangement in baffles where you have in a series that gets hot.
Yeah.
So when that heating element from the fire heats up, this is a simplistic way of explaining it.
Sure.
When those heating elements heat the water, it goes to steam.
Mhm.
But on your stove at home, when the water escapes and makes your face wet, you don't want that to happen.
Right.
You want it to stay contained. So now if
Yes.
you look up there, ahead of the bell, there's a dome. That's the steam dome.
Yep.
And that steam rises
Yeah.
as the heat rises.